Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Littwin English literature videos. Today, we're going to study some more literature and important terms that many literature students come across in their course of English literature. So, first important term that we're going to study today is the lyric. Now, what is meant by the word lyric? And how do you come to know about this word? A lyric is in order to study about the origin of the word lyric, we can divide Greek songs into two, mainly melic or lyric song, which is sung by a single voice to the accompaniment of a lyre. Now, a lyre is an instrument which many Greeks used in their singing and entertainment, and also for choric songs. This is meant for collective singing to the accompaniment of instrumental music. And the first of these divisions is responsible for the lyric as we know it in English verse. Now, what do we know about the music in the lyre? In ancient times, music provided by the minstrel's harp or the lyre formed an external accompaniment to a lyric. Okay, the subject matter, which was of little importance for so long as the singer's voice would give it a right emotional effect. Now we can see this kind of music in the Elizabethan age, especially where the past masters of the art of investing words with the highest musical quality. The lyrics were unrivaled. That means there was no competition in that age with other songs. The vowels and consonants are so artistically arranged as to compose a music of their own. And for example, we have such poets who compose such poems with musical instruments are Keats, Shelley, Tennyson, and Swinburne. Okay, and what is the subject? And in most of their songs, there is sufficient music in the words themselves. The lyric has now become independent of the lyre. Now let's look at the subject matter of the lyric. As what has been pointed above, the lyric gives expression to a single emotion. Now this gives us more insight into what a lyric is. It gives us a more emotion and feeling. It appeals more to the heart than to the intellect. Okay, so I hope you understand. Or to be more precise, its appeal to the intellect is through the heart. So when we first read or come across poetry, the lyrics is what appeals to the heart rather than to the intellect. And the next example is that to understand further is the American poet Edgar Allan Poe, who wrote several famous lyrics, declared that a long lyric was not possible as that, in quote unquote, that degree of excitement which would entitle a poem to be so called at all cannot be sustained through a composition of any great length. Unquote. Thus, the term lyric is usually understood to cover the song, the ode, the sonnet, and such poems as, in the definition given by Palgrave in the preface to his Golden Treasury, turn on some single thought, feeling, or situation. And you can say, as it goes without saying, that lyric is a subjective poem, for since it expresses the poet's emotions and it cannot help being intensely personal. Now let's look at the structure of the lyric. The lyric can be divided into three distinct parts, corresponding to the three moods through which the poet expresses when inspired by some emotion. The first part, which generally consists of the first few lines or the most of the first stanza, states the emotion or the subject which has set the poet's imagination. The second part, which forms the bulk of the poem, consists of the thoughts of the poet suggested by the emotion by the time it is well advanced in intensity, and therefore the expression reaches its highest peak of eloquence or passion. The third and final part, which is almost as short as the first and which is usually comprises the last stanza, we can say marks the poet's return to his initial mood. The mood of reason, for by this time the emotion which had stirred his mind and heart has found release in fitting words and images. Like the first two parts, the closing part tends to be intellectual in character, embodying often a judgment, a pointed summary, and ending with a parting smile or a sigh. Okay, so I hope all of you by now must have understood in brief what a lyric is. And now, just to conclude with an example, we have Herrick's lyric, a poem, Two Blossoms. The first two lines state the theme, sadness at the brief life of the flowers on a fruit tree. The next four lines and the stanza that follows embody the thoughts arising from this emotion. The flowers are falling, though they still look fresh and might have stayed to delight us a little longer. It was their whole destiny to live for only a few hours and then to vanish. It seems that sad that nature should produce them to show how lovely they could be and then take them away forever. So the poet concludes that all earthly beauty is evanescent, like the blossoms. It only shines for a moment and is heard no more. Very transient. Okay? The brief lyric poem to blossoms. And to sum up, a lyric is, we can say that it is a short poem dealing with a single emotion, and it is a musical poem, word music being an important element in its effect. It is also a subjective, important element in its effect. And it is also a subjective poem expressing the varying moods of the author, and it is a well knit poem possessing a definite structure. The division into three parts, however, should not be pressed too far, to be more precise. Some lyrics may not reach an intellectual conclusion at all. A poet's emotion is a law unto itself and pursues a course no critic can prescribe. So, in case you're watching my video for the first time, please like, share, and subscribe to Littwin, and you can wait for more literature videos. Thank you.